Welcome to the CodPast podcast, where your fishy past hooks your brilliant future. With Dr. Deborah, Laura, and Dr. Trish.
Or,
Oh, we have to start over.
Okay.
So
hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. We're live on Facebook, and this is a little bit of a tribute to Queen Elizabeth, who we have lots of stories about because Laura and I stayed at Windsor Castle a couple of times, and but Laura and I were getting into a deep discussion earlier about the Queen kind of held the world together. And what do you think of that, Deborah?
I just always admired her because of a lot of things. Tradition. I love tradition. I love the fact that she was always gracious and really her family was everything to her. And I just really love to watch the pomp and circumstance. I think that's really important for us to have.
Me too.
To have some semblance of traditions and some sameness. And I think what you said about her holding the world together, they kept the sameness going, right? It was the way things ran, it was almost like a calm system, a calm machine that kept running. And yes, I agree. I think she did contribute to our peace.
Well, I always go back to what's going on in nature and what does Jesus say? And I really, well, it's been proven that rituals and tradition are super important to people's quality of life. And the quantum physical world that we can't really define because it keeps redefining itself. But if you look at nature, and so you look at the perfection of God in creating natural surroundings, there's a word called chaos, and it's a word that's made up of chaos and order. And that is the way of the world. So a good example of that is if you drop a bomb or some little thing on an ant pile, the ants will disperse, go crazy. That's chaos. And then they go back into order. They want to do certain things a certain way, and they all kind of feel like they have a place. And I think that need to belong to a community that's greater than yourself or greater than the parts, it's part of who we are as human beings, and it's part of the planet. And our ability to feel like we belong is imperative to our health and well-being. And so the companies that I've run and the work that I do now as a coach, because I know we're going to all talk about that, is to take a look at what is the order of things in your life, and then what are you going to allow for chaos, and how do you work through that? And we all want to be we all want to have innovation in our life. It's fun, it's fun to discover new things. But if we don't have some sort of playground of security in some way, it's Maslow's hierarchy. If we don't have these pieces right, which is wealth, health, sexual, if this stuff is off, you can't build up. You can't build into enlightenment or manifesting, because this stuff has to get taken care of first, because otherwise your focus goes down to the very bottom. So I just see her, that my friends who knew I was a fellow at Windsor Castle, and so I've had a lot of calls, and a lot of, some people are just devastated. Other people are actually happy. I have Canadian friends that say that most Canadians didn't like her. I find that interesting, but she held to what she felt was the right thing. And she did it, and she did it, and she did it, and she did it. And she reigned through some really tough roads, like we all do.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think, Laura?
I think she was a formidable force. I think she had great faith in the traditions and her understanding of her heritage. I think she protected the royalty above all else, or I guess they call it protecting the crown above all else,
Monarchy, yeah.
the monarchy. Even when it cost her personally, I know she loved her sister and her parents, and I think she probably um, was pretty, upset that her uncle abdicated, because this was a path that wasn't supposed to be. And I give her great admiration for stepping into it, because how many times have we been forced into leadership, and it's almost always the reluctant leader that is the real leader. And she led with, she led with an iron fist, but also benevolence. And she stayed out of other people's business, and she always did her duty. So I really believe a very big life well served. I thought it was amazing that there were two rainbows, one over Buckingham Palace, and then one over Windsor just as they lowered the flag. And so I think it's, me, well, us, I believe that was a sign that life well lived, life well served. So beautiful woman, reigned through
Well,
a
and she
lot.
was a woman, and that's, that iron fist thing. We kind of do that as a derogatory term when we're talking about women, but we never think it's derogatory about men. And the truth is, leadership takes guts. It's like I say, 5 seconds
Yeah.
of insane courage. Like, you have to be willing to have an iron fist if people's lives depend on it. If people's lives depend on your leadership, which is always true, even if it's not life or death, it might be the life of their family, or it might be the life of their healthcare, or whatever. You have to make decisions that want to curl your toes. And, you have to be willing. Well, my mentor, Jack Ring, the first day he was meeting with me, and he was one of the ones that made up the word Kaord. And he was a physicist. He was supposedly the smartest man alive. And I wanted him to mentor me because I wanted companies to do this chaotic growth. And our first meeting, I didn't even know him, I just knew how brilliant he was, and I read a lot of his stuff. This is how he said, Trish, what are you willing to die for? And I said, nothing. You said, Trish, what are you willing to die for? And I'm like, this business, I'm not willing to die for that. And he said, what are you willing to die for? And all of a sudden I realized, oh, well, if I was on the school property and I had these children and teachers around, and a bad army came in with a bunch of guns, I would rescue those kids, get them behind doors, and I would be willing to take bullets to get those kids and teachers saved. And he goes, okay, we can work together.
Oh my gosh, that is so awesome. And that's a really good way to think of where it also defines your values, and it defines who you are as your character. I do have a fishy joke to honor the queen, in honor of the queen.
Aw.
It combines fish and royalty. So we always do a fishy joke. So one night with a K, one night, picture a night, right? A king and a queen went fishing. They each caught one fish. So how did 3 fish end up in the bucket?
I guess it was the Knight, Knight.
One night. That's the answer. One night. So the night was a fish too in there. So kind of a different kind of joke, but somebody wrote underneath it hilarious. So I thought, well, I've got to I got to read this a few times to get my intelligence up so I can think that's funny. But
Yeah, it is kind of a tough one to figure out. It's
it
like,
is. So today we're going to talk a little bit or a lot about coaching. I've learned a lot from these two women here about the value of coaches. And then as I think about the coaches I've had in my life, I really thought about it after we decided we were going to do this. And I looked up the definition of a coach, and I really liked it because what it means to be a coach, it's fundamentally the coach is helping the individual to improve their own performance, which is cool, right? You're the main character, so they're helping you to improve your own performance. In other words, helping them to learn. And good coaches believe that individuals always has the answer to their own problems, but also understands that they may need help to find those answers. And of all the, and you guys, I can't wait to hear about what you feel about coaches. But I think back about my athletic days and the coaches I had and who was most effective with me. And then I thought about my business coaches. I thought about my work mentors. I thought about my current coach, Wade Schmidt. I love him, a little 30-year-old Marine, and he's whipping me into shape. I'll tell you what, I went there today and wow. But I just thought about him, and what my most effective ones is the ones that I could align with, that I could respect because of their values and their the way they treated me and the way that they nurtured and also pushed. So that's kind of my opening about this coach conversation.
yeah, yeah. I think first, I mean, I've always asked people to help me, even when I was in school. I mean, in fourth grade, I went into the teacher and I said, "Can I stay after school? And will you help me understand?" We had some algebra stuff in fourth grade, believe it or not, and I just wasn't getting it, and I felt like an idiot among the kids. And I said, I can stay later, but would you help me? And so I've always been real teachable. I don't like to struggle. So if somebody gives me an edge or a spiff or a what do they call it, hacks now, hey, I'm all there, because like I don't want to learn what you, Dr. Deborah or Laura, I don't want to learn your stuff. I just want you to tell me what to do. And so the reason for the successes I've had is directly related to the coaches that I had at that moment. And I learned, like you, as an athlete, without a coach you're nothing. And I mean, I grew up practically on snow skis, partly on water skis as well. But I wouldn't think of going out skiing after not skiing all summer without hiring a coach all day for that day. And I know how to ski. I can teach you how to ski, but I don't know how to ski against myself. So better than my sloppiness. And if I spend one day with a ski coach, like I only do private lessons on my ski coaches, by the way. And so they're expensive. I mean, I've paid up to $650 for 4 hours just to be with a ski coach. But the quality of enjoyment for the rest of the ski season is set on that first day. Because on the first day, they'll say, you're dragging your left ski, you can't do that. You're edging your right ski, and that's going to catch you. Just skiing with them and having them notice you're braking with your pole too early. Just those little things that you got sloppy over because you haven't done it for 6 months or 8 months or 10 months made all the difference in the world. And you know who taught that to me? An Olympic skier. So here's an Olympic skier at the top of their game. They never started skiing for the year again without a coach all day. And so you can't ever get too good. You've got to have people that look at your stuff and go, is that really working for you? Like, do you want to continue with that? And, if people are complacent and they're happy sitting on the couch and drinking beer and eating potato chips and watching a rerun of General Hospital, more power to them. I mean, I'm done with rescuing people that don't want to be rescued, like Laura was talking about. But if the people that I work with coaching now, it's so fun because they're so easy. I mean, it's like, just tell me what to do. And I'll go, here's the list. It's kind of hard. You may not like it. They're like, I got it. I'm going. And so it's fun to, you feel like we all want to be needed. It's human behavior. And so when you feel like you're making a difference in somebody's lives, and you guys have known me long enough to know how many people I've gotten rid of in the last couple of years. It's like, manage your energy or your vibration. Don't manage your time, because your time will get managed perfectly if you manage the vibration around you.
Well, what I've kind of learned, and I'm sure Laura and you know this more than anything, and Laura's coined the phrase, I'll let her say the phrase, but I've learned that I don't think the coach so much motivates me as they teach me discipline. And if you wait for motivation, you're going to wait your whole life. You have to be disciplined to get up and go, and be, whether you have motivation or not. So discipline, when you learn self-discipline, of course, especially self-discipline, I think you're limitless. You're just limitless.
You've hit the nail. You've hit the nail, because motivation comes after discipline.
Yes.
People don't get motivated to go do their thing. They get motivated after they've done the work. And you can see that in the military. So when people are in boot camp, how many of them are motivated to be in boot camp? Like nobody, zero. And it's just, punching them. And a lot of people that join the military they have really gone astray as far as being self-disciplined. And I mean, they get whipped into shape. And my dad was career Air Force, but I probably have some of the most admiration for the Marines, because I'm telling you, it's not a joke. Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Yeah.
If somebody's been in the Marines for 2 years, you can identify them at 70 years old that they were in the Marines for 2 years. I don't know what those guys do, but it's beautiful, because those guys are proud. The way they walk is proud. The way they take care of women, the way they talk to women. I mean, I can spot them 1,000 miles away. I'm like, you were a Marine once, weren't you? They'll bet.
Tell us.
Yes,
I know.
was.
Oh, yeah. Just the way they carry themselves and how they treat people.
Yeah.
They treat
And
people with
a lot of
respect.
times they'll say, yes, ma'am, and you're like,
Yeah.
who does that? I love this.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to tradition. It's self-discipline. And then here's the motivation, but it's all taught. And it's like, I think on Zoom something the other day, I said that you can look at your world and whatever's going on in it, and you can decide, I'm sorry, I don't like this one. Because everything that you judge, everything you feel, everything you think is right or wrong, it's all been taught to you. And so if you want to be something different, you got to pull in the coach you want or the idea that you want, because you're as smart or smarter than any of those people that made all the rules and made you learn what you learned. And if you want to be different, you've got to decide. Just like you, Deborah, you have motivated me, and Laura's our weight coach, but you're just those little things, ever since you started working out with your guy, I've been doing planks every day. and I'm getting up there. I'm doing pretty good. And so,
That's
and
awesome. That's
today,
awesome.
today I started doing side planks. Those
Oh
things are like,
yeah.
I
That's what
hate
he had
those.
me do today. That's hard. That's hard to do.
oh
Laura,
my goodness.
Laura, tell us about
Well,
your discipline and your coach experience.
And your motivation. Your
my
Yeah.
motivation. Okay, that's a lot to unpack. My journey with coaches is very different from yours. I had athletic coaches when I was younger. They were just mean. I was just a very sensitive child. So the swim coach, was never good enough. I sucked or whatever he thought. And then I did taekwondo in Korea where they really took it seriously. And something turned on at me at 19. I think it was a life experience where I was like, I need to be in charge of my own life. And that's when I woke up. I was a sleeper cell until I was 19 and I just played everywhere. But basically I realized that if you listen to the teacher, you don't have to embrace everything they teach you. You can learn a lot. So I was never the kid like Trish to say, I want to stay after, because I like to struggle. I didn't like to struggle, but I did struggle. And then I guess it was in my 40s that I went back to school and I became a personal trainer. And one of the men that we interviewed, one of the first interviews we did, Tim Henriquez, was my first, I'll call him mentor. He really was a coach. He became my powerlifting coach. But coaching and mentoring and guiding are kind of one and the same. And I think the word coach has been overused to the point, just like leader, where it almost is a negative thing to hear, because there's so many coaches that out there, unfortunately, that are not as good as they say they are. So the world of coaching and life coaching and wellness coaching and other coaching, business coaching, is this big nebulous world that I stepped into. And I lucked into some incredible coaches. And it was like the first time I dropped a significant amount of money, but I grew so much to the point where when I first started with them, I remember after about 2 months sitting down on my floor with all these papers in front of me and just crying. I was like, I can't absorb this much information, because it was all new and it was about fat loss as well as running a business. It was like divergent. But I got through it. It was so hard, but I got through it. And then it was building blocks. And I think then when you grow, you go to the next coach for the next piece of growth, or maybe you don't have a coach and you use what you've learned to grow. And then when you need more information from outside. So that's what I've learned is, in order to grow, you need to pull in people, not that motivate you, but that can teach you and keep you on track. So accountability, either because of your respect for them, or they're kind of keeping an eye on you and maybe even saying, what have you done since last week? I mean, most people, when they have homework from a coach, do it about an hour before they meet the coach, but it doesn't matter because they still get it done. So it's moving you forward in the direction you say you want to go. And I'm a big proponent of coaches, guides, and mentors.
And you said something one time, and I'll never forget it, and Trish repeats it a lot too, is that there's freedom in discipline, which I love, because when I'm disciplined in many things, especially when I put it all together now, like I'm on a big path right now, but when I'm disciplined in my reading, in my eating, in my working out, in my having fun, all the stuff that I need to do to be a healthy human being, I feel free. So I really like that there's freedom and discipline. But also, all three of us, we are also coaches right now, but we're also striving to be, world-class coaches, coach in human relations. We all kind of are that kind of coach. But talk a little bit about, Trish, if you want to talk about what is your coaching, not dream, but how do you coach people, and what is your
Well, so kind of my coaching packages right now, primarily 3 things. So one is a VIP day where I just really slice off 24 hours for somebody. And I mean, the best thing is if I go over to their house and their company, because I'm very intuitive, but I also have years of being a CEO and really involved in the health industry teaching yoga. So I can walk through somebody's house or walk through somebody's business, and I can give them 20 things right there that if they'll change it, their whole life will change, because I can see it, I can feel it. I think Laura and I were talking about the time that I was asked to come and coach Tony Shade. Tony Shade found out that I had written a book called Success is Happiness, and it was the Starshine Effect. I published that almost exactly when he published, what was it,
Happiness delivers. Happiness delivers.
Oh, Happiness Delivers, and it was about Amazon and Zappos and all that. He was the founder of Zappos, and then at one time he made the biggest deal that had ever been made. He sold Zappos to Amazon, and it was a big deal. Everybody thought, oh, he's brilliant, blah, 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 blah. And he found out I published this book about happiness, that I had schools. He wanted to establish a school for the people that work for him in Las Vegas. He also wanted to compete with Andrew Agassi for a school. And he wanted to know what I knew about happiness. So he hired me, and I brought an entourage, about 4 people with me. And I'm telling you, I walked in that office, and in 10 minutes, I said to him, you are so off base. You may have made a bunch of money, you may have written a book, but if you don't do what I tell you to, you are going to crash and burn. And I didn't mean he was going to die. Although there was a part of what I saw and what I listened to and what I paid attention to that I could have probably predicted that. But it didn't take me 5 seconds to see the enormity of what was going on there. And I do think, so one is, I will come and I'll hang out with you for a day, or you can come here and hang out with me for a day. It's less expensive for somebody to come here than it is for me to go there, but you will get half of really what my expertise is. I mean, I can ask you a lot of questions, and I can give you a pretty good list to go home and do of body, mind, spirit, health, wealth, happiness. I know how to build wealth, and I know how to build health. And my real reason is for my own world. I want you to be happier, so I have a happier world to live in. So whatever I can do to help more people, that's my whole thing, because I want to leave a better world for my children and people that I love. So I love the one-on-ones, because I really am good. I'm really good at that. And I had, I worked for a guy one time that I built a whole banking system for, because he was a wealthy guy. And he got to the point, we worked together 7 years, he would not make a decision without running it through me. And we, he sent me to Timbuktu, and I wouldn't even know what the deal was about. Might have been about a military installation, or it might have been about some idea that they were going to do with the hospital or something. But he would have me listen to these people and go, it's not a deal. Don't do it, And I just had that capability from wisdom. Then, so I had the VIP. You're by yourself. You pay me. I will hang out with you. That's one. And you said something, Deborah, that I think is imperative right now. Everybody has to have having fun on their top priority. I don't care if you are managing, the old woman in the shoe with 100 kids. You got to figure it out, buddy. This is your only life. And if you're not having fun, you're going to make me miserable. So go have some fun, go laugh. So fun is like number 1. Number 2 is wealth, because if you don't have money to pay for your kids' school lunch, or for you to get gas in your car, or for you to give to this charity that you want to give to, your life is going to suck. And so everything goes underneath money. If you don't have money, your life is going to suck. And you probably won't be able to buy health either, because you won't be able to afford a coach. And so then health comes after that. And you got to get wealth and health right? Or nothing else really works. Then I do masterminds still. I've done masterminds since I was 20, and I'll do masterminds once or many times, and Zoom or in person. In person works faster and better. And then the third one is retreats. I just finished one on Monday and Tuesday that was literally knock your socks off. One of the most influential people there, well, no, she was one of the most influential persons there. She said, this is the most important, fun 48 hours I've ever had in my entire life.
Oh, that's
And,
awesome.
we transformed, but again, it
Oh,
was
I
all,
know. I wish I could have been there. It was
it was
it looked
really all,
wonderful.
it was all about me. I wanted to fix myself, but in going through those exercises, it wasn't just me giving everybody an exercise. We all did the exercises. But the funny thing was that I had a loose agenda. Like, here's the flow, here's what we want to do, here's what the outcome is supposed to be for everybody. And what happened was people remembered something that was life-changing that they did, and they would say, hey, do you mind if I take everybody through this, right? And I go, is everybody okay with that? Let's just do it. And I'm telling you, one of the things that we did came out of the woodwork, and we just had the structure so that it could flow in there, and we still accomplished everything, but it was times 300. I mean, nobody wanted to leave. The thing was over at 4:30. A couple of people had to go somewhere, and they said, can we all come back and eat together and hang out? And it was it was crazy.
Oh,
But
that is so
we're
awesome.
going to do one in Oregon on the coast. This one is going to be different. I would not put it past this group to actually have a UFO land, because they have had weird things like that happen at Shasta one time. And so this group is very, very spiritual, but extremely accomplished in business. So you wouldn't know that these people are this spiritual if you met them in their business. And they asked me to facilitate that and that's September 21st through the 25th.
Yeah.
And that's
Well,
on the ocean. And we just found out yesterday that all the whales have shown up. So the whales will be there where we can see them out of our hotel window. And that's 35 acres. We'll be doing a lot of environmental stuff there. And then I've scheduled one for Costa Rica the day after Thanksgiving, and we've got November 8th with Jack Canfield. So yeah, I'm having fun.
that is awesome, Trish. Yeah, you are a very special coach. Laura, what is your message? What is your passion when it comes to coaching? You've had a lot of great coaches, but you're also a great coach, and in many ways. Talk a little bit about your specialty.
Yeah,
And
thank you, Deborah. I have learned from Trish, who was my coach, body, mind, spirit, health, wealth, and that's the wheel of happiness. So I have been a personal trainer, and that's a type of coach. And from there, its scope crept into, it wasn't about what people ate. It was about why they ate it. And that's how I crept into all these incredible skills I have as a massage therapist, as a Reiki practitioner, as an improv actor, name it, I've done it. And what it's now come down to is my one-on-one coaching is pretty simple right now. I coach for a little bit, and then I do a Reiki healing. And I am finding that after 3 sessions, people are having incredible healings, to the point, and healing is not the same as curing. I don't cure cancer. I don't cure things. I help. I don't know if it's through an emotional, it's basically Reiki. When we talked last week with Paula, it's Reiki is a healing where you're pulling what you need from the universe. I'm just the conduit. And I'm finding the coaching where people say what's heavy on their heart, or whatever they want to say, they say it. And then when they're done, we do a Reiki session. And again, the results my clients are getting are phenomenal. So that's my current one-on-one offering. I call it the synergescence method because it synergizes both getting your energy together and boiling you down to your essence. So it's like, that's what I do there. And I'm just getting ready to roll out as soon as I get over a few of these things that have happened in the last year or so. I will be rolling out an experience, which is a group experience. I want it to be live and in person first, where I bring people together and we take their stories and we reframe them. And I want to shrink the cycle of suffering, because the leading and it's going to be called A Muse's Call. It's going to be fun. I will promise you, you spend a day with me with this group, you're going to come in strangers, leave as friends. It's a soft place to land. It's a place to explore you. And we're going to have fun and look at your stories and change them. And that's called A Muse's Call. And it will shrink the time of suffering between, because the leading edge of comedy is the trailing edge of tragedy. So that's what that's going to do. And then what I realized is people need something to do after. So separate or in addition to, I'll have a Muse's Call. Right now, I don't know what to call it. It's not quite a lifestyle, where it's 12 weeks of one habit a week that people will do, and they can just buy a workbook for like probably $27 because I have to put it together, and they can DIY, or they can join me for accountability. And we're going to look every week at these habits. How much have they shifted you? Have they helped? And then in 12 weeks, huge transformation can happen to people. And then there will be a part 2 if they want, where they take 3 to 5 of their favorite habits from there, and then they do another 12 weeks. So now it's a half year. And again, people will come in strangers and leave as friends, because we're all co-creating. So that'll be my group coaching. And then, well, that's just basically it. Then I do keynote speaking, and I'm currently working on a one-woman show, which I want to be a musical. So that's what's going on in my world. And how about you, Deborah?
Oh, I just think that's awesome. And I'm just so happy that you two are my best friends. One of the 3 of the 5 that I have in my life. Me personally, I've always thought of myself as a professional encourager. That's what I do at my job. But I also, it comes naturally. It is just who I am. But I basically would like to be, or I am, but I want to become more of an independent human relations coach. So my gifts are gifts of relationship building. My gifts are gifts of honoring people and also seeing the value in everybody. So I immediately know how to build teams. I know how to fix teams. I know how to heal one-on-one relationships with people. I'm very good at that. And I'm just like a conduit, like you said too. But when you look into somebody's eyes and you look into their soul and you literally value who they are and you sincerely appreciate them or sincerely communicate with them, there's so much that they get relief and you get a better employee, or you get a better friend, or type of thing. So that's sort of my specialty. I believe that the thing that I was put on earth to do is to just go around and make it a better place, just to make people happy, just to recognize people. If I go to a store, a restaurant, or if I'm at work, or just at the gas station, I connect with people. I make sure that I talk to them. I make sure that I, make them feel better. And I do it. I do it because I believe that everybody wants to be seen. I wanted to be seen my whole life, and I was in many, many ways, but I wasn't completely seen until I met you two. And it was a circumstance, it all came together. It was like all the years of my life came together, and all of a sudden I was seen as who I always knew I was. I've known who I was since I was very little. And here's just another little bit about coaching, is that I am taking from different coaches. I took Dale Carnegie course. I took many different coaching courses. But when I watch, for instance, my current coach, his name is Wade Schmidt. He's a personal trainer and he's a Marine, and he is the nicest, most, he's just dedicated and he's very professional. But what I'm watching him do with me, I'm using some of those skills in my everyday work now. I'm watching that you can do one more. I call him two more Wade, because it's everything's always two more, Deborah, two more, you can do it, But he is so encouraging. He says good job all the time, which I respond to that type of communication. So he's very, very emotionally intelligent. Very emotionally intelligent. I'm sure that he picks up on each one of his clients at his young age. He's very smart, and he knows what motivates me, right? A little bit of praise, and and to be challenged, because I'm very competitive. So I'm learning from him. I've learned a ton from Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie's little book of coaching, I carry it everywhere I go and I use it all the time. So I think my goal is just to continue to, like Jordan Peterson says, stand up straight, own the space, take up a little more space in this world, and absolutely share your light with everybody. So that's me.
Well, Deborah, aren't you also, to me, you are Jesus walking. I mean, when I am around you, I feel all the stuff that Jesus taught people, that you really took it to heart, that if somebody's going to see me, they're going to see Jesus walking, that it may not be me saying, hey, have you heard about Jesus Christ? No, you just wait and you love them and you meet them where they are. And you said something a couple of weeks ago that just so profoundly, I bet I've told 10 people that if people
we might
don't,
be the only Bible that someone reads.
That's what you said. And I so love that, because religion, no matter which religion, has so much been about, and parents have been like this, and husbands and wives have been like this. It's like, do as I tell you, not how I act. And it's like, well, wait a minute, shouldn't you be acting that way if that's how you feel? I mean, and so I believe that we're coming into this world of authenticity anyway. And I think that one of the things you teach me is just how to be a better version of God walking. I mean, I always say dogs are God spelled backward, and in this retreat that I did, one of the people in there was Yukwala from the bottom of the Havasupai tribe at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. And today is a full moon, and he's doing 3 years of going down into the bottom of the Grand Canyon and praying for everybody, including his tribe. He can't go into the tribe right now because of COVID. There are only 250 of them, and they can't risk any outside influence right now. And because he works outside all the time, he can't go in. But he was just saying that the four-leggeds, or the birds, or any animals, little lizards, they tell you things if you pay attention. And that's, to me, that's who you are. And didn't you just show me a book called Jesus Coaching or something like that?
It's all Learn from the Best, and it's called Jesus Life Coach.
Oh,
yeah, I want that book. I'm going to buy that.
That's great.
And it's by Lori Beth Jones. And she also wrote the bestseller, Jesus CEO.
Oh,
So,
I love that book. Yeah, I read that one.
And
well,
it's funny because I have it marked that I read half of it already.
You don't remember it?
But you know what? I don't remember it. So I got to read it over. And in the middle of it, my thing is the Serenity Prayer. That's my bookmark. So I am going to read this, but I opened it up to the chapter that I guess I'm at. Yes, I know what plans I have in mind for you, Jeremiah 29. And it's called Come Alive with Possibilities.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And that's
And
what we
awesome.
want to do. Well, I'm getting you guys taught me about shivers. I always called them goosebumps, but what am I? I'm cog,
Oh,
what,
you're clear. I'm clear cognizant. You're clear sentient. Is it clear sentient?
I'm
Clear feeling?
clairsentient. So I
Clear
feel
feeling.
everything like major. So
well,
I
I see that in you. I see you being a Jesus coach, honestly, because I think a lot of people would like to know what Jesus really expected in our actions. And I think that is going to it's going to be by referral, it's going to be word of mouth, and it's going to be like, you've got to have that coach because that coach knows what she's talking about.
well, I
and
mean,
it's not about religion, it's about relationship, what your
yeah,
relationship with God, not religion.
right. And I think, you know, if you think about Jesus, he did, and I don't mean to make us Jesus, but he went out and he was around people, and then his disciples,
Mhm.
so those people that believed in him, said, come bring, you know, come bring. And Jesus accepted everybody where they were. He just took them. And then when other people judged him, he's like, wait a minute, who are you to judge them? So, and that's, I mean, God, Jesus was an amazing coach and mentor and guide, and so loving. That's something that coaches, and we're human, so you know, we're not always good at that. Sometimes it's just easier to tell people what to do rather than guide them to guide themselves, because everybody has the answer inside of themselves. They know the answer, but either they're confused by, you know, years of other things being told to them, or getting off track once that, oh, I thought this was going to happen and it didn't, and then they gave up on everything, like I'm wrong all the time. Or but I just want to also say, because this can be overwhelming, it sounds like, oh my God, this coach in my big life, and it's one piece at a time, because right now all three of us have coaches. I'll let Trish tell you a little bit about what she's working toward. I'll tell you what I'm working toward, and then Deborah can tell you what she's working toward. So for me, I have a new coach. I haven't had a coach in 6 years in this capacity, where I've paid big bucks for this coach. In fact, I'm drinking out of it's Bo Eason, and Bo Eason teaches people how to use their stories to grow their business. And even though that's really what he does, and that's also what he's doing for me, he tells you how to get keynote speeches and things like that. He really appealed to me because he's also an athlete. He's an ex-NFL player. You have to be elite for that. But he also did a one-man show on Broadway. And so he's got two pieces of me, of what I want to do. I want to
Mhm.
get on
Mhm.
stage and I want to perform so I can inspire, educate, and entertain people. And so I hired him, even though it was a lot of money, to work on this one thing. And the one thing for me always becomes five things, but it's manageable. And what he gave me was clarity. He and his team have given me the clarity so that I can move forward toward my dream. So that's what I'm working on with my coach right now. How about you, Deborah? And then we'll go to Trish, because I know Trish has an exciting coach too.
Well, I have a new coach. His name is Wade Schmidt. He's a little 30-year-old Marine, and I hired him as a personal trainer. I've always been pretty good at what I eat, and I'm always on the go, but I need to be stronger. I need to be physically stronger. That's really important as we move on to do all the great things that we're going to do. And I've
Has
had
this affected your back, Deborah? I've been going to ask you that for days.
I am moving forward despite it, and so it has improved my ability to do things, because I'm stronger in my legs, I'm stronger in my arms. But it's been so interesting because just he there is no mercy. It's not like he's mean or anything, but he expects a lot of me, and I'm up and down off the floor, all these things that, you know, really I haven't pushed myself to do in a long time. And it's so good for me. I feel so proud of myself. I'm
You
so proud of myself.
you look different. I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
you do. You look
your
great.
Yeah.
your skin looks different, your smile, your eyes. It's when people start working on themselves, it's obvious within a week or two. It's like Shocking.
Yeah, I have always walked a lot, and that's my exercise. I've never been a sit arounder, but this is different. This is different, and Laura knows because she's lifted very heavy weights. But I even laid on a bench today and pushed something up. I don't think there was a weight on it, but
Yay.
it was hard. But anyway, so that's the coach that I have right now, and I think that it's the best thing for me right now because I am getting so much more physically strong, and I'm going to continue. This is a year program for me. I'm not even looking at a week or 2 or 3, and I hope it's forever. But I that's what I'm doing right now, and it is making a difference in the way I influence other people too.
Well,
That's awesome.
also at AT&T, and I mean, I know you guys have heard this 1,000 times, but for anybody listening now or in the future, when I was 20 years old, I became an executive for AT&T, and AT&T at the time was, well, it is still an international company, and they needed more women to be in stronger leadership roles because they were in trouble with the government. And so I was just at the right place at the right time, but I was like young and, looked like this and had doily blouses on. So they made us do weightlifting every day. We had to go work out with a coach and we had to do weightlifting because they said weightlifting had the quickest response to building confidence because it's something about your subconscious goes, I'm so strong, I'm so strong, I'm so strong, I'm getting stronger. And it's a subconscious training of your cells. And when I did all the schools, I made the kids learn the little pieces that AT&T taught us in the very beginning days. AT&T taught weightlifting. They taught the power of touching somebody with a handshake, a proper handshake, not an improper handshake.
Web to web.
Yep, web to web, and gentle holding, not like crunch, because it all talks about your personality, how people shake hands. You can size them up. You can kind of size people up on how they drive. One of my girlfriends used to say, go driving with a guy because you'll learn everything that you need to know about him with the way he drives. And I swear to Pete, ever since she told me that, I'm like, uh-oh. I mean, there's a lot of truth in that.
How about your coach, Trish? I know you've just hired a coach for something that you want to learn.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I'm working on, of course, with Jack Canfield, he has coached so many people and has huge groups of people show up. But on my own stuff, so when I have a big event, I want to sell it out, and I want to sell it out early. And so I hired, again, a very expensive coach. And I think paying for a coach makes you do it.
Yes.
And so there's not much benefit to hiring a cheap, iffy coach. Like, you're only going to get out of it what you put in. And when you hire somebody that's expensive, you get your rear end gear because you don't want to lose that money. And so I have told people that many, many times. It's like, I can be affordable in a certain way if it's group and all that, but I want serious-minded people who want to change. I don't need to waste my time. And so she is known for selling out anything. So selling out opportunities, selling out retreats, selling out. She coached Tony Robbins when he did that 1 million+ Zoom thing that he did. She coaches Gracioso or whatever.
Dean Gracioso.
And it's all about selling out your events. But I mean, the bottom line with these people that are really off the charts right now, and she had influence on Tony Robbins, and you guys know kind of the before and after. It's all about authenticity and kindness and caring and meeting people where they are, Deborah. And in her case, she's a strong Christian. She makes no bones about it. It's like, look, I work with every religion. I love them all. I think they're all great. but I personally have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, and that's what you're going to hear from me. And so she's formidable because she knows who she is. She knows what she wants to do in life. And she knows that if you really care about the people that you're coaching, then you'll do it right. And so she's got my rear in the gear. You know, it's been a lot of work for me to do it. But what she's already had an effect on me and some people that I work with, one of whom is Jack. And it's like, look, we need to get our rear in gear in this, and then it'll start to flow. Because when you get things working right, God works.
Yeah, amen. And you know what? We are coming up on the hour. I've loved this conversation because we don't really sit around and talk about our coaches all the time. So I've learned a lot from you all.
And I have too. Laura, I didn't even know a lot of that stuff that you're doing. And I for sure didn't know about Jesus Coach.
Well, I love it. And I love you guys. And I love
Me
our
too.
audience. I'm just so, I don't know what the right word, I'm grateful, and I feel blessed by the people that listen to us, because obviously we must have something to say that's meaningful to them, and they're meaningful to us. And we're just all on this big blue marble together, and we're all trying to make the world a better place. And I'm grateful for you two, and I'm grateful for our audience, and I'm grateful for all of the opportunities God has given me through the world in which I find myself.
And future opportunities. We've got so many adventures coming up.
Oh,
Woo! It's going to be so much
Incredible.
fun. We're all going to have so much fun together soon. So
yes.
Incredible. All
Yeah.
right, kids, it's 1:00. I'm going to turn off Facebook and turn
Okay.
off our recording and stand by. I love you guys. I'll see you next week.
See you next week.